The grade school years are the most essential years for a child's upbringing. What one is taught during those years is usually what one is brought up on. And it's generally what they live upon and most likely die upon. There's definitely exceptions, but rules are not based on exceptions. With absolutely no credit to me, many know I was born in this country and I attended school here. When I was at the age that the Prophet ﷺ recommended that you teach your children Salah, my father took us to Medina to learn. And he attended the university while we were in special schools and Quran schools as well. And when we returned back here, my parents were over us day and night, making sure this Tawheed and Deen remains firm in our hearts. When I look back at it now, I don't remember I've ever had someone I called a friend in any of my school years ever. Nor do I remember that I spoke to classmates beyond the basic superficial talk. It was mainly because my parents set a schedule for Islamic learning and other activities that occupied our entire time, and it did occupy our hearts as well. I felt I had nothing in common with other students. I was taught we're Muslims and we're different, and I actually felt it and saw it. My father was very active in da'wah, and the da'wah scene back then was much different than it is today. There was a bit of freedom back then, and the events still didn't expose a lot of the zanadiqa in their masajid. So my father was always inviting ulama from all over the globe to visit us, and I spent a lot of time with them, alhamdulillah, and with personal study that my father set for me. When I graduated from high school, I was accepted at several of the best universities here, but my father decided to send me back to learn in Medina as well. The fathers of several of my classmates who claimed to be Muslim sent their children to various branches in the US military. In a year and a half after that, they ended up taking part in massacring Muslims in Iraq in the first war on Iraq. I take no credit in that, and if I did, I wouldn't have mentioned it. It's just to show the role of the parents, and the credit goes fully to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then the parents. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant my father a long life full of deeds, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant my mother Firdaus. I remember when the classmates used to go to lunch break, I would have a Quran I had to review, or one of the volumes of Fatawa Ibn Taymiyyah, or the books of Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab, or the books of Ibn al-Qayyim, and I would read it because later on in the day I would discuss it with one of the shuyukh or with my father. The years that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to teach our children salah, around 7 to 10, those years set the basis for the overall failure or success of teaching children Tawheed and Islam and Ibadah and Akhlaq and Quran. My father, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him a long life full of deeds, always said a golden quote. He mentioned it decades and decades ago. He said, properly raise your child on Tawheed and Deen and manners from around the ages of 7 to 9, because the knot you tie in those years will not untie nor loosen after that. They're critical years in influencing a child any way you wish. And for us, it's to set a Tawheed foundation, especially in this country and mainly in the West overall. What's instilled in their minds in these years is quickly absorbed because the brain grows fast in these years. And what they're taught in those years becomes most of the time like what's carved in stone. Only those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blinded their hearts can't see the effect of what the public schools do to their children or will do to their children. They're a breeding ground to raise a generation with no true Islamic identity. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, ألا كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. You're all guardians and you're all responsible for your subjects. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam then said, وَالرَّجُلُ رَاعٍ عَلَى أَهْلِ بَيْتِهِ وَهُوَ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْهُ. The Messenger specified the head of the household, the man. He said the man is a guardian of his family and he's responsible for them. When you say he's responsible for them, that means he's going to be asked about them. وَالْمَرْأَةُ رَاعِيَةٌ. Then the next one is the mar'a, the wife, the mother. وَالْمَرْأَةُ رَاعِيَةٌ فِي بَيْتِ بَعْلِهَا وَوَلَدِهِ وَهِيَ مَسْئُولَةٌ عَنْهُمْ. The mother, the wife, the woman is a guardian in her husband's house. And she's responsible for the house, for the children. You're responsible for them. You'll be asked about them. They're an amana from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala you will be questioned about. In Sahih al-Bukhari and Muslim, ما من عبد يسترعيه الله رعية يموت يوم يموت وهو غاش لرعيته إلا حرم الله عليه الجنة. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entrusted with the affairs of his subjects and he was dishonest or betrayed that amana, that trust, Jannah is forbidden for him. This is not for a khalifa or a leader and his subjects only. Qurtubi rahimahullah ta'ala said this hadith is for anyone entrusted with any subject. They all fall under this hadith. You put an innocent, observing child to learn kufr and shirk or to be affected by sins, risking the child's deen in these institutes, and you don't think that's deceiving what Allah trusted you with? You hand them a child born on Tawheed, they give you back an enemy they used to fight us with? How convenient is it for them using our kids to fight us? That's what's happening today. ما من مولود إلا يولد على الفطرة فأبواه يهودانه أو ينصرانه. Every child is born on the fitrah, Islam, on Tawheed. His parents convert him to other religions. The Jew raises a Jew. The Christian raises a Christian. But originally, they're born on the fitrah. Now a Muslim is raising a Christian. A Muslim is raising a Jew, in an atheist, in a zindiq, in a modernist. A child born on Islam in a so-called Muslim household comes out a warrior against Tawheed and Islam in many of the various ways. You hand them an innocent child so they can contaminate and pollute his mind, and you don't consider that deceiving the subject Allah entrusted you with? That's ultimate betrayal. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ward off from yourselves and your families Jahannam. Your children are included under this verse, under families, وَأَهْلِيكُمْ. And they're also included under the term أَنفُسَكُمْ. قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. You tell your kids, you're my heartbeat, you're my heart, you're my soul. That's like in reality, they're part of you. أنفسكم, yourself. So your children falls under the term yourself, and it falls under the family as well.